Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Troller. We'll talk Cavs and NBA basketball, and we'll talk Buckeyes and college football, and we'll talk some Browns and some NFL football. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who was the first player in NBA history to be elected MVP by a unanimous vote? I'll have the answer later in the broadcast. Well, unfortunately, the Cavs lost to the Brooklyn Nets 102-86 at Quicken Loans Arena. The Cavs really struggled in this game tonight. The Cavs were down 24-17, 24-17 at the end of the first quarter. Then the Cavs and the Nets, and they fixed one thing tonight. They were tied at 45-45 at halftime. And in the third, the Cavs just trailed by at least 20 points, facing a deficit of 23 points in the second half. The Cavs were down 83-62 at the end of the third quarter, and things just did not get any better for the Cavs in the fourth quarter. The Cavs kept just missing shots from the field and in the paint, and even free throws as well they kept missing tonight. The Nets scored 19 points, and the Cavs scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. But the Nets went on to win 102-86. 86 points. That's a season low for the Cavs. Not good, guys. And Kevin Love had 14 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. Excuse me. And Colin Sexton with 14 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. And Jordan Clarkson also had 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Cavs are now 0-4, and the Nets go to 2-2. Well, the Cavs will regroup, and they will try to get their first win of the season tomorrow night as they will take on the undefeated Detroit Pistons at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. on Fox Sports Ohio and on the radio home of the Cavs, WTAM 1100. And they've got to find a good strategy and really get their lineup going. The Cavs defense really needs to get going if they want to get their first win of the season tomorrow night. Well, the Ohio State Buckeyes are on a bye week this week, but they will be back in action the following week on Saturday, November 3rd, as they will take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers at Ohio Stadium in Columbus. Head coach Urban Meyer says it's good we're on a bye week because this will give the team a chance to practice, set up a good strategy, and also rest up as well so that we will be good and ready to give the Cornhuskers a good run for their money. And kickoff is at 12 noon on November 3rd on Fox. And you can see all the action, on there on Fox. So tune in for that. Well, after losing to the Tampa Bay Bucks in overtime in Week 7 last week, the Browns are getting ready to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers for the second and final time this season. Once again, Baker Mayfield will be the starting QB. And, excuse me, and the game between the Browns and the Steelers will be entirely different than Week 1. The Steelers have a much improved defense, as do the Browns. But let me tell you this, the Steelers do not take the Browns lightly, and they are not the Browns' lapdogs anymore. And the Browns do not take the Steelers lightly, to say the least. The Browns really need to get things going early against the Steelers. The Browns need to dominate this game early and score first and never let up. They need to make the plays count and really keep the pressure on Steelers quarterback Big Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers' much improved defense. If they can do all that, then the Browns will have a fighting chance to win this game. Now, Hugh Jackson's job is on the line, but nothing is carved in stone yet. But Jackson needs to win 2 or 3 more games to be able to save his job. There are a lot of problems right now with the Browns, but it's not with the players or the coordinators or with Browns owner Jimmy Haslam or Browns GM John Dorsey. It's not with Baker Mayfield. But the thing is, as you know, everybody's blaming the coach, Hugh Jackson. It's the coach. It's always the coach, to say the least. Well, what I got to tell you though, it's first because of the 1-31 record and the winless season a year ago. And as I've said, Jackson and the Browns only have 2 wins on the season. That's why everybody is blaming the coach. Now, Jackson has good quarterbacks and defensive and offensive players, wide receivers, running backs, and offensive linemen and linebackers and all of that. But you have to win games. Nobody wants a coach that loses a lot of games. Now, bear in mind, I said this before, Jackson only has 2 wins on the season. And he has to win 2 of these next 2 games, or 3 of these, or the next 3 games, to be able to save his job. And we shall see what happens this week against the Steelers. And we're going to this will be, I think, a totally different game. And I feel the Browns will have a fighting chance. I'm not going to give a scoring prediction because the last few times I've done that, we have lost, so I'm not going to do that this time. But you can catch all the action on CBS 19, and kickoff is at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. And don't forget, Thursday Night Football kicks off week 8 of the NFL regular season tomorrow night. The Miami Dolphins and the Houston Texans will square off at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, and kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. And I will tell you who I do feel will have the edge in this game tomorrow. And being in Houston, I really do think that it's, let me take a look here. I tell you this, that's going to be a good game between Miami and Houston. And as I look at, I'm trying to take a look-see here. I do feel, because Houston is, Miami is 7-point underdogs, Houston is 7-point favorites. But I do feel, with it being in Houston, I feel the Texans will have the edge in this game. So we shall see what happens with that tomorrow night. And as I said, kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. I will have the pregame show before the game starts. And once the game is concluded, I will have the Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football postgame show. So stay tuned for that. And we'll get back to talking sports in just a sec. But first, it is now time for the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who was the first player in NBA history to be elected league MVP by a unanimous vote? If you said Stephen Curry, you are correct. In 2016, after a record-breaking season in which he led the Warriors to an NBA record 73 wins and set an individual record of 402 three-point field goals and smashing his own previous league record of 286 set the year before, Golden State Warriors guard Stephen Curry became the NBA's first unanimous most valuable player. And as you know, although he did have all those records and was voted the most valuable player unanimously, as you know, the Warriors did not win that. The Cavs came back from being down 3-1 and beat the Golden State Warriors 4-3, ending their 52-year championship drought and winning their first ever NBA title. And that is, of course, with the man who is no longer with us, with the Cavs, who got us to 4 NBA titles the past 4 years. And I'm, of course, talking about LeBron James, the King, who is now with the LA Lakers. And I'll have another trivia question tomorrow night for Scott Sports Thursday Night Football pregame show, which will be an NFL trivia question, so stay tuned for that. Now, getting back to the Cavs and their not so good game tonight. Now being 0-4, the Cavs, I feel, are desperate to get a win this season, and they are going to do all they can to get a win tomorrow night against the Detroit Pistons, the undefeated Pistons. And excuse me for that. And I gotta tell you, the Cavs are gonna have their work cut out against the Pistons, and I really feel that the Cavs defense still really needs to step it up, and I really feel Larry Nance Jr. needs to really play much better, more defensively, and I really excuse me, I apologize for that sneeze. And I really feel that Larry Nance Jr., as I said, needs to really step it up much better and play much better defensively. And I gotta tell you, they gotta not make the mistakes that they did tonight, and they've gotta not miss shots or free throws. They've gotta make shots, make free throws, make 3-point shots from field range, and in the paint. You've got to really dominate, Cavs, if you want to get the first win of the season. And we'll see if they do it tomorrow night. Now, the Buckeyes suffered their first loss with the Purdue Boilermakers, 49-20. That game wasn't even close. And I felt the Buckeyes could have had a chance to win that one, but they just could not do it. And they just Dwayne Haskins, he had some good plays, but the offense just was not there. And I think they're going to have to step it up when they play the Cornhuskers on Saturday, November 3rd. I feel it's good they're on a bye week this week. This really gives them a chance to really sort things out and get things ready for the Cornhuskers on November 3rd. Now, getting back to the Browns and Steelers game for Week 8 of the NFL for the second and final time, I really feel the Browns do have a fighting chance, and I really feel a lot of people are saying the Browns are going to beat the Steelers. Sources are saying that, and I do think they will, but I am not going to give a scoring prediction, as I've said, because the last few times I've done that, I have been wrong, and we have lost in overtime. So I figured don't give a scoring prediction, but I feel, boys, we really need to step it up, and really we got to start winning some games. And Hugh Jackson knows that if he wants to be able to save his job. And we will see what happens when they do play the Steelers at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh on Sunday. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for this edition of Scott Sports 101. Don't forget, I'll be back with the Scott Sports Thursday Night Football, Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football pregame show before the Thursday Night Football game between the Miami Dolphins and the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium in Houston. And once the game is concluded, I will have the Scott Sports 101 postgame show, Thursday Night Football postgame show. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.